One maid left before breakfast on her first morning. A chef with 2 Michelin stars lasted 9 days. A tutor with a doctorate lasted 4. And the head housekeeper, 11 years in that mansion, quit at sunrise after the billionaire's daughter dragged the entire staff onto the driveway at 2 in the morning, in the rain, to search for a diamond earring she was wearing the whole time.
Look closer. It must be here somewhere.
Everyone in town said the Aldrich estate was cursed. It wasn't cursed. It was ruled by one 17-year-old girl. Then, one quiet Monday morning, a small Filipino woman arrived at the gates carrying a worn suitcase and a peaceful smile. 5 minutes later, she looked the billionaire's daughter straight in the eyes and said one word, one single word that nobody in that house had dared to say in 6 years. What happened over the next 3 months didn't just change a spoiled girl, it rebuilt a broken family from the inside out. Before we go further, drop Pinoy Haas in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from. This story is for every Filipino who ever stood quietly in a house that didn't see their worth. And if you love stories about respect, courage, and quiet strength, subscribe and turn on notifications, because you do not want to miss how this one ends. From the road, the Aldrich estate looked like heaven had a mailing address. 40 rooms above a private beach, glass walls that turned gold at sunset, a garage of cars that had never seen traffic. Everything money could buy, except one thing: peace. Inside those walls, every employee learned the same 3 rules on their first day. Never argue with Camille. Never correct Camille. Never, ever tell Camille no. Because the last person who did was escorted out by lunchtime. Her father, Marcus Aldrich, had built a hotel empire across 4 continents. Senators returned his calls. Rivals rehearsed before meetings with him. But inside his own home, this man could not look his own daughter in the eye, because 6 years earlier, Camille's mother had walked out. No warning, no goodbye. She left for a retreat in another country and simply never came back. The last thing Camille ever received from her was a birthday card, 2 months late, signed with just her first name. Like a stranger, Camille was 11, and Marcus, drowning in his own humiliation, made a silent promise that would poison everything. My daughter will never feel abandoned again. So he never said no. Whatever she broke, he replaced. Whoever she hurt, he paid off. He thought he was protecting her. He was actually teaching her that people are disposable. By 17, Camille didn't have employees. She had targets. She learned that the fastest way to feel powerful was to make someone else feel small. And here is the part nobody understood. Not her father, not the staff, not even Camille herself. Every person who quit proved something to her. See? Everyone leaves. Everyone always leaves. The staffing agencies stopped answering Marcus's calls. 3 agencies, then 5. Finally, one director told him the truth no one else would. Sir, there is no salary large enough. Word has spread. No one will work in that house. No one, except one applicant. A 58-year-old widow from Iloilo in the Philippines. A former schoolteacher, 22 years, in classrooms of 40 children. The agency warned her about the mansion, the 2 a.m. driveway search, the earring. She listened to all of it, nodded once, and said, "I will take the position." The director asked if she had understood what he'd just told her. She smiled. "Sir, I have buried a husband. I have buried a daughter. I raise my grandson alone. There is nothing in that house that can frighten me." Her name was Rosa. And on that quiet Monday morning, she walked up the marble steps carrying one worn suitcase, and everything she was actually carrying, no one in that house could see. Not yet. Camille was waiting at the top of the staircase. This was her ritual. Day 1 was for breaking them. She looked Rosa up and down, the plain dress, the taped suitcase handle, the sensible shoes, and smirked. "You'll be gone by Friday," she said. "The last one lasted 4 days. Want to know why she left?" Rosa set down her suitcase and looked up at her, not with fear, not with anger. She looked at Camille the way a teacher looks at a child acting out in the back row, like someone she could see straight through. Camille picked up Rosa's suitcase and threw it down the marble stairs. It burst open at the bottom, clothes scattered. A small plastic photo album slid across the floor. The staff froze in doorways, waiting for the tears, the shouting, the resignation. Rosa walked down the stairs slowly. She knelt. She gathered her things one by one, folded them, and closed the suitcase. Then she stood, faced the girl at the top of the stairs, and said one word, quietly, in her own language. "Tama, enough." She didn't shout it. She didn't tremble. She said it the way you state a fact about the weather. And something happened on that staircase that had not happened in 6 years. Camille had no response. Not because the word was harsh. She didn't even know what it meant. But the way it was said, no fear, no anger, no performance. In 6 years, everyone had responded to her with one or the other. This small woman offered neither. Camille turned and walked away, and told herself the game had simply gotten more interesting. The first test came within days. Camille had guests over, and Rosa was serving lunch by the pool. Camille began imitating her accent, loudly, exaggerating every word, while her friends laughed into their phones. The staff braced. Rosa set down the tray, looked at Camille with genuine patience, and said, "Your pronunciation is not bad, but in my language, the correct way is like this." And she repeated the phrase slowly, beautifully, like a teacher. 22 years I taught children. You would have been one of my quicker students." One of Camille's friends laughed at Camille. For the first time in memory, the joke had turned around, gently, without a single unkind word. Camille's face went red. Rosa picked up the tray and continued serving as if nothing had happened. That night, Camille couldn't sleep. She told herself it was rage. It wasn't. The second test was sabotage. Camille poured a bottle of red wine across an entire cabinet of white linens Rosa had spent the day pressing, heirloom linens, her late grandmother's. Then told her father Rosa had ruined them through carelessness. Marcus, exhausted, said he'd deal with it in the morning. Camille went to bed satisfied. By breakfast, there would be shouting. By lunch, a resignation. The pattern would hold. At 3 in the morning, Camille came downstairs for water and stopped. Light was coming from the laundry room. Inside, Rosa stood at the ironing board, rewashing and pressing every ruined linen by hand. And she was singing, softly, a lullaby in a language Camille didn't know, in a voice that sounded like it was meant for a child far away. Camille stood in the dark hallway, unseen, listening to a woman she had sabotaged singing at 3 a.m. while quietly undoing the damage. No complaint, no report, no surrender either. Just that voice. And for reasons Camille could not explain, her eyes burned. She went back to bed and lay awake until sunrise, furious at herself and not understanding why. Here is what Camille found the next week, and this is where the story turns. She went into the staff quarters to plant her next scheme. She wasn't proud of it later, but the truth is the truth. She went in to hide something in Rosa's room. Instead, she found a wall. Above Rosa's narrow bed were photographs, a weathered man on a fishing boat, and a small funeral card beside it. A young woman in a graduation gown, and a second funeral card beside that, and dozens of photos of a small boy, gap-toothed, laughing, maybe 7 years old. Beneath the photos, taped to the wall, was a hospital letter. Camille read it before she could stop herself. The boy's name was Miko, Rosa's grandson, the child of the daughter in the graduation gown the daughter Rosa had buried. Miko had a hole in his heart. The surgery was scheduled in Manila in 4 months. The letter listed the cost. Beside it, a handwritten savings chart, every payday marked, every amount, climbing slowly toward a number it would barely reach. That's when Camille understood why a schoolteacher was scrubbing floors in a stranger's mansion at 58. Why she took the job no one on earth would take. Why the agency said she asked only one question: which position pays the most? And that's when Camille saw the small velvet box on the nightstand. Open, empty. Rosa had already sold her wedding ring. Camille left the room without planting anything. She didn't speak at dinner. Her father asked if she was sick. She almost was. She was 17 years old and feeling, for the first time in 6 years, the full weight of someone else's life. But here is the tragedy of a proud heart. It always makes one last stand before it breaks. The Aldrich Foundation Gala was 2 weeks later. 300 guests, cameras, business partners, politicians, every name on the coast. And Camille, cornered by something growing inside her that she didn't have a word for, did the cruelest thing she had ever done. That afternoon, she took her late grandmother's diamond bracelet from the family safe and slipped it into the side pocket of Rosa's worn suitcase. Halfway through the gala, in front of 300 people, Camille announced the bracelet was missing. She said she'd seen the new maid near the safe. She said it loudly, with her chin up, while something inside her screamed at her to stop. Security searched the staff quarters. They came back into that glittering ballroom holding the bracelet. Every phone in the room came up, and Marcus Aldrich, humiliated in front of the world he'd built, turned to Rosa and said the words every failure in that house had trained him to say: "Pack your things, tonight." 300 people watched. Rosa did not cry. She did not beg. She did not defend herself. She untied her serving apron, folded it neatly over her arm, and looked, not at Marcus, at Camille, not with hatred, with understanding, the way a teacher looks at a student who has just failed a test. They both know she could have passed. And Camille could not breathe. Rosa was almost at the door when a voice cracked across the silent ballroom. She didn't take it. It was the youngest housekeeper, 19 years old, terrified, shaking, and speaking anyway. "Sir, with respect, you should all know why that woman took this job. The job nobody in 3 states would take." And in front of 300 frozen guests, she told them: the grandson, the hole in his heart, the savings chart on the wall, the wedding ring, sold last month to a pawn shop in town. She works 18 hours a day in the house everyone calls cursed, the girl said, because it pays double. That woman has buried her husband and her daughter. Sir, you think she'd risk a child's surgery for a bracelet? The ballroom did not move. Then, the sound of glass. Camille had set down her champagne flute so hard it cracked. She was crying before she reached the middle of the floor. 17 years old, in a designer gown, in front of every camera on the coast, and she said the first fully honest sentence of her adult life. She didn't steal it. "I put it there." Gasps, phones, her father's face, going from confusion to horror to something that looked like a building collapsing. "I put it in her bag because," and her voice broke apart completely, "because she was the only one who never left. Everyone leaves. Mum left. Everyone always leaves, and she wouldn't. And she couldn't finish. She didn't need to, because Rosa crossed that ballroom floor, past 300 of the most powerful people in the state, and did the thing no one had done for this girl in 6 years. She took Camille's face in her 2 worn hands, and she held her while she sobbed. This small woman in a serving uniform, holding a billionaire's daughter, upright, in the middle of a marble ballroom. and she said it again. The word from the staircase, but softly now, completely differently. Tama. Enough, enough, enough now. Not enough of your behavior. Enough of your punishment. 6 years of it. Enough. Marcus Aldrich stood in his own ballroom and watched a stranger mother his child, and understood, with a clarity that nearly broke him where he stood, that he had spent 6 years buying his daughter's silence when what she'd been screaming for was someone who would stay. What happened in the months after that night, no gossip page predicted. Camille apologized, not through a publicist, in person. She tracked down the housekeeper from the driveway search, the gardener, the tutor, one by one, face to face, no cameras. Some forgave her, some didn't. Rosa told her that was correct. Forgiveness is theirs to give, Anak. Your job is only to deserve it. Marcus paid for Miko's surgery in full, and when Rosa protested, he said the only perfect sentence of his life: "You repaired my child. Let me help repair yours." The surgery took 4 hours. Rosa spent all 4 in the mansion's kitchen, unable to sit, while Camille, a girl who had never cooked anything, stood beside her, attempting rice, because Rosa said, "Busy hands quiet the heart." The call came at sunset. Miko was okay, and 2 women, one 17, one 58, born 10,000 kilometers apart, stood in that kitchen holding each other, crying over a little boy neither of them would let go of. 1 year later, a small gap-toothed boy learned to swim in the Aldrich pool, shrieking with laughter, while his Lola watched from the shade, and a 19-year-old girl, about to leave for university, planning to study teaching, held his hands in the water. Rosa still runs that house. Not as a maid. Marcus made her head of the household, though everyone knows her real title. Camille says it out loud now, without embarrassment. Nane. The staff came back, one by one, when they heard the house had changed, and it had, because houses are never cursed. They are only ever unloved. Here is the lesson, and we'll say it plainly. The people who mistreat us the loudest are often the ones hurting the deepest, and it costs nothing to be the one person who doesn't flinch and doesn't leave. Money built that mansion. A school teacher with a taped suitcase made it a home. If this story touched your heart, drop Pinoy Ha in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from, and tell us about the person in your life who stayed when everyone else walked away. We read every single one.